One way or another, you're gonna die tonight.
There it is. It's not just a diary, it's a map.
I'm not letting you die.
My sister's still out there!
Go, guys, go! We can end this.
Fear Street 1978 is the second installment to the Fear Street Trilogy and sequel to Fear Street 1994. In 1994, Deena and Josh have restrained Sam and seek help from C. Berman, who has lived through a Sarah Fier encounter. To find clues about how to save Sam, Deena asks C. Berman to recount the events of Camp Nightwing in 1978. After I saw the teaser for 1978 at the end of Fear Street 1994, I was really excited. I was going to see more about the story, more about C. Berman, and more about the infamous Sarah Fier. Just so you guys know, this specifically focuses on C. Berman and her experience at Camp Nightwing. Camp has a mixture of Sunnyvale kids and counselors mixed with counselors and kids from Shadyside. Ziggy is having a tough time at camp. The mean girl clique of Sunnyvale has chosen her as their victim and keeps getting her into trouble. Her sister Cindy is a counselor trying to survive the summer and keep Ziggy from getting kicked out of summer camp so that her mom can work. In Ziggy's latest run-in with the mean girls, they tie her to a tree while one of them is bold enough to use a lighter and burn her arm. The counselors intervene and send Ziggy to see Nurse Lane. Ziggy and Nurse Lane have a very close relationship, and Ziggy notices that something is really off with her. Hey, but before we jump into the review, like Aliens, Things from Another World has a great collection of alien comics, figures, and cookbooks? Yeah, you heard that right. Things from Another World has the ultimate aliens cookbook, and I'm so interested in it. It looks cool, and so do the recipes. This synopsis says it all. The official cookbook that collects together 50 recipes that journey through the xenomorph's terrifying life cycle, featuring recipes such as avocado xenomorph eggs and chicken face hunger cordon bleu. There's something to whet every monster's appetite. Whether you're an alien fan or just looking for the perfect quirky appetizers, this cookbook will thrill your eyes and your taste buds. At last, it's your turn to be space's greatest apex predator. If you're interested, the link is in the description down below. The story takes a wild turn when Nurse Lane attacks Cindy's boyfriend Tommy and fellow counselor with a knife, claiming that he will die today. Nurse Lane is taken away by the police, leaving the campers to wonder if she's been possessed by the witch Sarah Fier. This story has all the ingredients for a great story. You got mean girls, elements of young love between Ziggy and Nick, sex, drugs, and a serial killer. If I had to compare the first installment with the second, I would say the second installment is way better. I think the storyline is more cohesive and really benefited from having just one killer as opposed to 3. Fear Street 1994 had 5 main characters and 3 killers. I kind of thought that was a bit of an overkill, no pun intended. 1978 had 2 main characters and 1 killer and a whole lot of innocent bystanders. Having 1 killer in the woods with a bunch of campers is way more scary in my opinion. You got kids that don't know what's going on out in the woods at night where they can't see, and a killer that doesn't discriminate whatsoever. Most of the characters were smart and were able to think on their feet to save lives and figure out what's going on. They even had the nerve to put in some good themes about being true to yourself. They even did a good job with the music this time and used it way less than they did in 1994. I hope they keep that trend going. The story answered a few of my questions, but then ended up creating a few more. I won't get too much into spoiler territory, but you really should watch both films before you dive into my question section. Knowing the history of Sarah Fier and knowing that the town has been dubbed the murder capital, why would the town build the camp anywhere near Sarah Fier's house? There obviously has to be something to the curse, so why turn a blind eye to it? So, Ziggy's real name is Sadie Sink. Why is she going by C. Berman? Cindy is her sister's name. Is she honoring her sister by partly taking her name? If Sam killed herself to break away from Sarah Fier's vengeance, why didn't it work? It worked for C. Berman. Why is Nurse Lane the only person investigating Sarah Fier's house? Hasn't law enforcement, clergy, or anyone investigated the house for clues or evidence? They might have found the rock with the killer's names on it. All in all, this is a great teen horror that is essentially a slasher film, but it's truly terrifying. A bunch of young kids are being terrorized and killed by one of their own that is possessed by a witch. There are no adults around, and they have to get out of the situation themselves. I say this is way better than the first. The genre is great, the characters are good, and the horror/gore is great for those who love it. I give Fear Street 1978 a solid 8.5 out of 10.